Ukraine is not a NATO member, and though the West is supporting Ukrainian forces, we're not engaged in direct combat with Russia. If there has been a deliberate attack on NATO soil, though, that could change, and Canada, a NATO member, would be part of it. Our Ottawa Bureau Chief Mercedes Stephenson is with me. Mercedes, it is a tense time. What are the next steps in terms of NATO's response?
It is, Donna, and what's expected next from all of the sources I've spoken to is that there may be Article 4 invoked. That's basically a meeting, and it's a meeting that happens whenever member states feel that their territorial integrity or security might be threatened. It's very different than Article 5. Article 5 is an attack on one, is an attack on all, and that's only been invoked once in NATO history, and that was by the United States after 9/11. But even Article 5 is not an automatic call to arms. For those who are feeling anxious about what's happening tonight, there's a lot of discussion that would have to happen and a lot of belief that this would have to have been deliberate and worth a military response before that would happen. One of the senior folks in the military who I was speaking to earlier tonight said to me, look, if we put this into Russia's hands and allowed them to decide what the trigger was with something as simple as a single strike, we would be out of control. The reality is, at the end of the day, this will largely be decided by the United States of America. And of course, it will depend on whether or not this was a deliberate or an accidental strike. And that's something that really is still being determined at this point. So likely at this point, Donna, that it will be Article 4, not Article 5, which is basically a meeting that's been invoked 7 times before. In fact, it was also invoked when Russia initially invaded Ukraine by 7 NATO members who were concerned about their territorial integrity, including Poland. This would not be the first time that Russia has potentially accidentally struck a country that is not Ukraine. They hit Moldova back in October, but there was less discussion on that because Moldova is not a NATO country. The military sources I spoke to also told me the Russians have largely run out of precision munitions. They are using dumber and dumber bombs, and they don't have great discipline or leadership, which could account for a strike. So, of course, we're waiting to find out what happened, but all of those things come into consideration.
What is Canada's response at this stage?
Well, Donna, at this point, it's pretty muted. We heard from Melanie Joly, who is the Minister of Foreign Affairs. She's at the G20 very recently. Take a listen to what she had to say.
So obviously, we're following up this situation very closely. We're in contact with Poland as well as with our partners. My heart is with the family and loved ones of the victims and also with the people of Poland.
Does Canada believe this triggers Article 5?
We're following up this situation very closely, and of course we'll be having important meetings today with allies.
So as you can see there, Donna, very, very careful. There's a lot of phone calls, I'm told, by senior officials going on behind the scenes to the United States, Poland, NATO, and even they're trying to find out from Russia what may have happened here. But right now, everyone is being very careful with their words. A reminder, there are 40 Canadian combat engineers currently in Poland, but there's, of course, no suggestion that they were involved anywhere near this strike. But for those wondering about Canadian forces there, that's who's in the region.
All right, Mercedes Stephenson in Ottawa, thanks.